Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our Stress and the Holiday Season Workshop number 3. Workshop number 3. I can't believe it's December 19th already. Can you? Oh my gosh. Already December 19th. And I'm so excited to see so many of you here tonight. We've got some returning faces and some new faces, and I am absolutely thrilled. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. This entire workshop series has been such a treat, such a joy, being able to spend these Thursday evenings with you during this busy time of year and really exploring this idea that we have about stress, especially over the holiday season. Over the last few weeks, we've explored some concepts such as finding the pause and going with the flow and the ways that these ideas can kind of resonate or take hold and support us during the holiday season in particular, but really any time of year. These are not exclusive tactics or ideas for the holiday season, but it's a really good time to practice them, and it's a really great time to get together. So thank you for being here. And tonight in our workshop this evening, we are going to really honor um, the season in a different way by connecting with the winter solstice. And so here in the Northwestern Hemisphere, we are coming up to our longest night, shortest day of the year on December 21st. Today, the 19th. So we are approaching it, and the days are getting shorter, have been getting shorter for the last, really feeling it since the fall. The days are shortening in length, the daylight is shortening in length, and the nights seem to be drawing out, expanding, getting longer, dark when we wake up, dark um, when we go to bed, dark sometimes when we go to work, dark sometimes when we come home from work. And so tonight we will talk about that solstice. But I wanted to, as we get started, we are going to do a little bit of centering. And if you've been with me for a while, you know I always start with some centering because I think it's really important to give a break, take a break from the momentum of all that you have been doing beforehand, and maybe a break from thinking about all of the things that you have yet to do today. And whether you are catching us live or whether you are watching the recording, there is a good chance that whatever brought you here had created a momentum, and whatever lies ahead is also causing a pull, a draw, which is also some momentum. So we are going to start by getting settled in our seat. So wherever you are seated, if it's a little bit later in the day for you, maybe you're already in your jammies and sitting up in bed. This is a nice way to kind of end the busy day. But you might be sitting in your office chair, at your kitchen table, in your living room, maybe in front of your Christmas tree, sitting on the couch. Maybe you are sitting in an easy chair. Wherever it is that you are finding yourself and joining us from, I would like you to really just kind of settle into it. Really settle into it. So what I mean by that is finding a way to be comfortable in your seated posture and allowing then the body to kind of settle into that seated posture, especially your foundation, the base, the legs, your feet, maybe the small of your back, your hips, right, all settled into this seat, so that all of those areas of points of contact of the body that are connected with that which is supporting you can settle into being supported. Okay, so just take a moment and find your comfortable seat. And as you do that, I invite you to close your eyes. Just close the eyes and settle in. And we'll take a few nice, um, calming, settling breaths. You can inhale nice and big and full, and exhale nice and long and complete. We'll do that a few times. A nice big full inhale, followed by a long, slow, complete exhale. And I'll let you find your rhythm, your cadence with that a few times. And if it's helpful, you can inhale through the nostrils, exhale through the nostrils, or inhale through the nostrils, exhale through the mouth. You might inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth and make it a little audible, a bit of a sigh. You release the day. Or just release whatever kind of sensations you were bringing into this time, into this settling. Okay. So we're going to spend a couple minutes here connecting with the breath. And I think most of you, especially if you join me for workshop one, but probably also because of the ways that we've connected, you've probably already experienced or practiced the pause meditation that I teach in my Pause to Prosper guide that I taught in the first workshop a few weeks ago. And so we're going to start with that here now from this place of being settled. We're going to kind of hold our attention on the breath. And we're going to hold it just kind of gently. We don't want to force it, but hold it so that your attention is kind of with it. And anytime you notice your attention kind of drifting away, maybe it jumps back into the activities or the problems I think it needs to solve, or remembering something on your list. Anytime it's kind of jumping back into some other place, and you realize that that's where you are, bring it back to your breath. In this way, we're going to create kind of this connection of our awareness to the movement of the breath. But we're not going to hold on so tightly to it. Don't try to force it. Just want to hold, to draw our attention there without grasping and without forcing. And so if your thoughts kind of do drift back in, it's okay. There's nothing to worry about. Just like I said, when you remember or when you notice, just bring it back to the breath. And we'll start again. No big deal. And feel the breath. Last week we talked about the flow of the breath, and you might be noticing the flow and the movement of it. The inhale, the exhale, the inhale. You feel that expansion, the exhale, the contraction. And we are going to bring a little bit more effort into the movement of the breath. Again, your attention is not the effort. It's just touching or kind of noticing lightly. But I want you to start to notice the filling of the lungs with the breath. In fact, I want you to start kind of practicing the inhalation nice and big and deep and full, almost to the point where you just can't take any more in. You're kind of at that, I think it's like the tippy top of that inhale. And then once you reach that tippy top, you can plug in the exhale. And you can practice just the inhale part of this breath work to start. Just practice the inhale nice and big and full, reaching that tippy top. And then once you do, then releasing it. Practice the inhale part a few times. Okay. And now we're going to switch it up. We're going to bring or shift our awareness to the exhale portion. So inhale nice and big and full. Exhale. And then when you exhale, I want you to release it all. I want you to just kind of squeeze out every last drop of that inhale, getting every little bit of breath out. You can feel that inhale kind of pulling up as you exhale it from the bottom of the belly all the way up, releasing, letting that breath escape from the lungs all the way up, exhaling, feeling that expiration, that exhalation all the way through the mouth or through the nose. So you just can't get any more out. And then once you reach that bottom, that's it, the inhale is the top, the exhale is the bottom, then we can do it again. Inhaling, and then let it all out. And I demonstrated there through my mouth. It can be through your nose as well. It doesn't have to be through your mouth. Whatever feels most comfortable for you. And once you reach that very bottom of the exhale where you can't get any more out, then we inhale. And just practicing the exhale portion of this breath a couple times. Okay. Just release that breath for a moment. Just let go of the effort of the breath work, let go of the effort of the awareness. Just let it go. And we're going to bring all of it together. Just catch your breath for a moment. So the next part of this practice, and again, if you've been practicing the pause meditation or are familiar with it, you'll know that we're going to inhale big and full and complete. And then we're going to exhale long and slow and complete. And if we bring those together, practicing the inhale and exhale together, then we'll move on to the next part, which is finding the pause. So as you're ready, we're going to inhale nice and big and full and complete and reach that tippy top. And once you reach the top of that inhalation, then begin the exhalation, nice, big, full, long, complete exhalation, squeezing out every last drop. And once you reach the bottom, you can inhale again. That same big, full, long inhale, reaching the top, and that long, slow exhale. So practice putting it together a couple times, the inhale and the exhale. And I'll let you give that a try. Okay, and now we're going to add on to this. So this is a part when I talk about the pause breath or the pause meditation. This is where we're going to bring our awareness to that pause. So we do that by just creating a little bit of space, a little moment, a little microsecond almost to bring our attention. We've been bringing our attention to the breath. We're going to add to our attention the pause. So as you inhale nice and big and full and deep at the top, we're going to pause, a little slight retention of the inhale. And then we can release it, let go, let the exhale begin. And at the bottom, once you've breathed out all you can, you're going to pause and then begin the inhale and practice that a few times. Big long inhale, followed by the pause, big long exhale, pause, and then again. Okay. And building on from here, now that you've got this practice, this feeling, this flow, the cadence of the inhale, pause, exhale, pause. We're going to inhale. At the top, I want you to pause. And we're going to pause just until you can start to feel that momentum kind of building for the exhale to begin. We're going to pause, inhale, hold. Once you feel that momentum, then exhale. And at the bottom of that exhale, we're going to pause and pause just long enough to feel the momentum of the inhale. that building of the momentum, the inhale, and then release so that the inhale can begin. So inhale, pause, inhale at the top, pause, hold, and then exhale, long and slow, pause. We hold that pause until we feel that building of the momentum, and then we start again. Inhale, pause, exhale, pause. And through the cycling of the breath, this pause breath, it's a meditation because we're bringing our awareness to it, the light of awareness to this process of respiration. And we are accentuating each of the components, the component parts of this respiration process, so that we can increase our awareness of it, our understanding of it, our connection to it. And inhale, pause, just until you notice that momentum. Exhale, long and slow. Pause. We pause long enough to feel that natural intelligence within us building, inviting you and looking for that next part of the respiration, the inhale. We're going to do that a couple more times, maybe just 2 nice full breaths, just like that. Inhale, pause, exhale, pause. And then after that last exhale, I want you to just release now the effort of the breathing practice. You can release your effort, even of the attention of the breath. You want to release any of that extra effort. And now the breath, because we all know our natural intelligence will kick in, does kick in, it's always kicked in, to allow then the breath just to start to move at its own cadence. We've been forcing it around, kind of making it fit into these, this inhale, exhale, pause cycle. And now we just release the effort and let the breath return to its natural cadence. And then let's let all of that go. And then ever so slowly, taking your time, and start to open your eyes. All right. How was that for you? For those who have practiced it a few times or maybe been practicing it regularly, maybe notice something new, something a little different. Sometimes it's different. When we practice it with a guide, it can be a little bit different than when you practice it on your own. Sometimes it helps you come to a new awareness around it, something you hadn't kind of heard before, as your experience of it and your familiarity with the practice grows. And just, as we kind of set the stage for the next part of the conversation, that was a nice kind of long practice of the pause meditation, which I hope you enjoyed. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. But I want to remind you that you are most welcome in this evening's talk to participate via the chat. Just pop your comments into the chat. I'm trying to keep the chat box here open. I've got a couple applications running with the recording. So I'm looking kind of from one thing to the next. So if I'm not right to you, I will try to get right back to it. So no problem there. But from here, bringing our thoughts back to the pause. And again, those of you who have had some experience with it now may have been noticing kind of different ways that it's showing up for you. Looking at the comments. Yeah, okay. So yeah, every time it's a little bit different. You're right, Jen. It is something that with practice, you kind of get familiar with, but with practice as well, it can almost become routine, right? You get used to how you do it. You sit down, you find your comfortable spot, you breathe, you hold, right? And the benefits that you felt or noticed kind of right away may shift and change, but to come back and kind of have to listen to the process again or to be guided in it again can give you an even different experience of it, and maybe something that you didn't notice in the first instruction when your mind was maybe trying to understand what we were doing. So thanks for sharing that. It was a little bit different for you tonight. I find that too, and every time I teach it, I notice something a little bit different. But the reason we start with the pause, and the reason I often start with it, even when we're, talking now, we're on kind of week 3 of this stress in the holiday season conversation, and tonight we're talking about the winter solstice. I still, it's such a relevant teaching that we find with the pause, and I'll draw these kind of parallels as we continue our talk tonight. But in the pause, every time we create this pause, like we talked about in the first class, um, we create this moment, even if it's short, even if it's brief, even if it's just that point of transition between the inhale and the exhale. This is where the stillness rests, the stillness resides, right? And it's almost like this state of suspended animation. I kind of think of it as, if you were in the Matrix, right, where everything kind of slows down and you are able to um, have this different perspective or different perception of the world around you and do things that are magical and perhaps even like a superpower. And I talk about in that point of transition as well, as we kind of practice that feeling of waiting until you notice the momentum, right? We're practicing our awareness of these points in this kind of protracted expansion of steps related to the breath. But the key or the idea is to really kind of notice that moment where that natural intelligence wants to kick in. It wants you to do the next part. It's ready, right? It's going to do it consciously or not, right? We do it all day long without kind of being conscious of it. But when you draw your awareness to it, you can notice the momentum. Did you feel that? Could you feel that tonight in that kind of elongated pause at the top and the bottom? Yeah, Megan says yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like you're gasping for air, right? Or um, that that momentum, right? That build up is there. The impulse, that's the word I was looking for. The impulse builds. Yeah. And this is how we draw our attention to this natural intelligence. And that attention, as we practice it, we're cultivating the kind of this flame of awareness, the flame of awareness of the natural intelligence or what is um, within nature. And we are a part of nature. And that's why this is such a great conversation at the time of the winter solstice. We want to draw um, or cultivate our inner flame of awareness, our inner flame of attention, our inner flame of discernment, our inner flame of knowing, intuition, all of these. There's lots of ways that we can express or find expression of that inner flame within us, just as the sun in the sky represents the flame of life to the earth, right? And just because we can't see it, I can't see it as I look in the sky. I'm looking at my window right now, can't see the sun. It is dark, 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 dark outside, right? That as we cultivate our understanding of that, this is like the pause, the stillness, the point of transition. And in particular, the winter solstice is the point of transition between one season and the next. Every day, so today is December 19th, coming up to December 21st, which is actually the day of the solstice. This Things change. right? This is a point of transition, whereas leading up to the winter solstice, we have the darkness. We get one more minute of darkness every day, one less minute of light. On December 21st, that changes. We start to build one more minute of daylight every day. And this continues until the summer solstice and it switches again. This is natural intelligence. This is the cycle of nature, just like the cycle of your breath. And so, as in nature, so too within you. So, a little bit, that was a little bit the winter solstice and why I talk about that kind of in connection um, with the pause meditation. The other way that I like to think about the winter solstice or the sun is that right now, according to my senses, it, right, there is no sun. I can't see the sun. It is, like I said, it is dark. It is dark. I've got some lights on around me, and I've got a little mood lighting tonight for the next part of what we're going to do. It's a little bit darker, but I've got some lights in the background, so it's not completely back behind me. But according to my senses, there is no sun. But from what I know to be true, there is sun. So if I were to rely on my senses to inform my world, to inform my understanding, to inform what I know, I would believe that there is no sun. I can't see it, but yet we know that that is not the case. We know that it's because the planets move. We know as well that just because I can't see the sun right here today, right, for at this point in the day, there are parts in the world where they can, right? The sun rotates, the earth rotates, and this is what I see right now. But my senses tell a different story. We're gonna kind of move on from this point. I want to kind of expand from this point. And let's see, hopefully this looks good on camera. All right, I've got here a candle, which I'm gonna light. This is the reason I've got kind of the darkened atmospheric background tonight. Candle. And kind of move it. What do you guys think? Is it better over here? Here? Where can you best see the flame? I'm going to try to keep that flame in front of me a little bit so that you can look at the flame, and I'm going to look at it with you. Okay. We're going to practice this cultivating this flame or this internal flame of attention. And this exercise is called is about the candle gazing. So we're going to keep our eyes open for this part, but I want you to just let your gaze be gentle, and we're going to start to watch the flame of the candle. I want you to watch the flame of the candle. Now, like the breath, we want our attention, like we had our attention on the breath, but the effort not to be hard, right? A light awareness of the light. Can bring some softness to your gaze, right? You might need to squint the eyes a little bit, right? You want to let the eyes kind of be soft about it. We're looking at a light, so you might need to kind of shift where the points of the candle that your eyes are looking at in order to, to let your eyes be comfortable. But we don't want to we, we want the effort to be soft, not hard. Let your gaze be gentle. a light, soft gaze. And just looking at the candle, looking at the flame. Let your breath be light, your body still nice and supported, comfortable in your seat. And we gaze at the candle. You might start to notice things. You might start to notice things. We just watch it. All right, and you might start to notice things like the movement. You might start to notice things like the color, the variation in color. You might start to notice it's kind of got this dancing aspect to it. I notice on the screen how the arc, there's a ray of light that travels well beyond the actual flame of the candle caught by the camera. You might start to notice kind of the point where the wick of the candle changes into the fire. You can maybe notice the place where the wick is only wick, and the place where the fire is only fire, and then the place where it's both. You may start to notice or think about, where the candle or where the flame may be at hottest, where it may be its coolest. Your gaze is light, the attention is easy. Noticing the flame. And just taking a couple more moments, just watching the flame. Now, if you've been watching the flame, your mind, your thoughts, your attention, looking for, to make kind of sense of the flame, the composition of the flame, the moving parts of the flame, the differences between the candle and the wick and the flame. I want you to let that attention just kind of pull back. You can just kind of pull back from that and let then the effort of that attention of making sense of the flame with your senses, let that shift, let that go. Notice the effort of the attention, releasing just that little bit more. Be with the flame. We release the desire of the senses to create the story of the flame, to be the knowledge of the flame. If you can just kind of lift out of that a little bit, let the sensory connection, just release that little bit. be the flame, be with the flame. Be with the flame. Every time you feel like your senses want to kind of jump back in and start telling you about the flame, just gently let that go. Pulling back just that little bit to be one, to be with the flame. The senses can relax. No effort. And instead, be with the flame. Now we're going to start to come back in slowly into this sensory world. And kind of feel your eyes kind of connecting back, the movement, the color of the flame. And a couple nice, deep, big, full breaths, inhaling and exhaling. And turn your gaze away from the flame. Look at something else. And then just all right, let me move this out of the way. Take a few breaths here. That's for if you haven't done kind of candle gazing before, give yourself a moment or two just to you kind of catch your breath. You can stretch it out a little bit. You can move your eyes, kind of get the eyes um, back engaged, just looking at something different, blinking it out a little bit. Come back kind of to the present here. When you're staring at a light, you know, sometimes you might see a few spots in front of your eyes. Just blink it out, look around, look at something else. You may have noticed as I put out the candle there that I used got this little snuffer. It's adorable, eh? Little thing. My goodness, with a snuffer. Makes for a nicer, you know, I think that makes for a nicer kind of way to preserve the wick of the candle. You can kind of keep it upright, but we'll talk about why we might snuff a candle as opposed to blowing it out in a moment too. But let's do a little bit of sharing. Let's kind of get involved in the chat here, kind of coming back into this world of the senses. What did you think? In particular, what I'd love to know is what did you notice about the candle when you were observing it with your eyes? That first part when you were noticing. What did you notice about the candle? About the flame? Yeah, the colors. Absolutely. And I was looking on the screen and I'm not sure you could see the depth of color that I could see staring kind of live with the candle here, but there's a different difference in the colors. And this particular flame was quite a bright yellow, kind of all around. It was bright yellow and white that I noticed. And then there was that nice blue center right around the wick. Did you notice that too? Yeah, yeah, thanks, Susan. Yeah. The colors, I noticed that too. What else? What else did you notice about it? The movement? Yeah, thanks, Jen. It was moving. Absolutely. It was, wavering, kind of dancing. As I was talking, just even my respiration was making it move around a little bit, or a lot in some cases. The dancing, the movement of it. Yeah, absolutely. What did you think? Deb, what were your thoughts about the candle? I see that, yeah, you noticed it was or you were thinking about when I asked you where it was hottest. Yeah, hottest. It was out hottest at the in the center. That's right. Hot in the center. That blue part of the flame is actually, everybody knows this, right? The hottest part of the flame. It's actually the core of the flame that right around the wick that it's the hottest. And then all around the outside, that kind of conical shape on the outside where it's the lightest or the or it's the coolest. You can actually wave your finger through the top part, right? It's coolest. Yeah. So it's got these varying degrees of temperature all around it and almost kind of represented in that flame shape, right? All of the kind of the point where it's hottest around the wick and then expanding to the point where it becomes so cool it gets cooler and cooler to the point that it's so cool that it can't contain itself within a flame. It's no longer burning. And then, right, it gives it this shape. Yeah, good observations, guys. Excellent. So what about when we pulled back? When we pulled back, when I asked you to kind of let the sensory connection with it or the sensory um, uh, information kind of stop and for you to instead um, connect with the flame at more of the being level. What did you notice when you were being with the flame? Being the flame, being with the flame. Yes. Yeah, Claire, that's so interesting you say that. It is kind of like it shifts um um from watching it, right, into the kind of the aliveness then that you can feel in it, right? The kind of the sensory watching it, the observation, which is passive, to the connecting which with it, which is much more active, this aliveness then that starts to be experienced in that oneness with it. That's an amazing point. Thank you, Claire. Yeah. Crystal, you felt warmer. Isn't that, that's incredible. You felt warmer just looking at the flame. Why do you think that is? Yeah, there's a couple reasons for that. I agree with you because, this embodiment of it, that aliveness, maybe like Claire was talking about, right? It is then that connection with it, it is the visual representation of heat and this oneness with it, then, right? This oneness of it, if that is heat, then you are also heat. Great, great. Anna, you say let's read here. Oh, you felt it was a little bit harder kind of being with the flame. Yeah, it is. I think so too. And maybe that's because we're also not practiced at it, right? How often do we make that distinction between that's the connection at this level of the senses to the connection of the level at the being? That's right. So often, we go through our day, our most of the world, right? In our certainly in our culture, but most people go through their day, their life, kind of only connecting at the level of the senses. But as we experience with the pause meditation, and as we experience, I think even, watching the candle, that is only part of the story. And that is one form of information. But the natural intelligence is actually beyond that point, right? In the breath, it's actually beyond the point of the mechanics of the inhalation and the exhalation. It is drawing your awareness laser focused to that point of transition, right? Where you can feel that momentum, that build. And with looking at the flame, we could see those points of transition, absolutely. But with that being with it, then that connection of the heat, of the aliveness of it, that really came to life. Yeah, those are great points, guys. Really, really good. And so, this shift then from I'm going to make sure I've got it. I don't want to forget anything here. Back to my notes, right? This shift from moving from the senses to this being, this oneness with um, that uh, that we are the object of our oneness, the object of our attention, um, is then where we can notice the natural intelligence. Absolutely. It is a shift in perception. It is a shift in perspective. This is where we go from the outer, all that's around us, to the inner, that which is within us. From the senses to introspection, to intuition, to inner wisdom. And so, just like we talked about, that the sun is always shining in the sky somewhere, maybe not here right now, right? If we relied on the senses for truth, it would have us believe that they would have us believe that the sun is not here, it is gone. And if we relied on our senses to tell us, as the days get darker, leading up to the winter solstice, our senses would tell us that the sun is disappearing, maybe gone, at some point gone. But nature tells us that that is not true. And we know now that that is not true. The sun is just in a different location. The earth is in a different point on its axis. And let me look. Oh, and I see Megan too. Megan said that, the shift in from that outer kind of gaze, that outer gaze, using our senses to tell the story versus that inner story, where when we are looking at through the lens of our senses, a lot of information, a lot of input, a lot of clamor, right? Did I catch this? What about that? How about this? Ooh, look at that, right? When we start to become one in connecting with it, there's a sense of peace and calm. So when we make that shift from outer to inner, we connect with the peace and calm of it all. Or as I often say, the calm, the clarity, the ease. So this is how we practice cultivating or connecting with our own flame of awareness, our flame of attention, our flame of discernment, our flame of knowing. And through this little practice tonight, I hope I've illustrated for you how we cultivate that, or can cultivate it so easily, so quickly. And I hope I further illustrated for you that this calm and the peace that you seek within you, just as sure as the sun is just reflecting on another part of the earth right now, it's still in the sky. It will rise again tomorrow. The sun is still there. And so in this holiday season, this period of the year where there may be kind of accelerated or accentuated or heightened stress or anxiety or overwhelm, right? It is just like the sun maybe not being visible right now, but you can know that the calm, the clarity, the ease, and the joy that you seek is indeed there. Is indeed there. So you in the workshop so far, right? We've talked about the pause meditation. I shared last week about going with the flow and kind of connecting that to the breath. Tonight we have the example of the flame. Oh, let me tell you why we don't blow out, right? Why I use a snuffer. Why I use a snuffer. So in yoga, in my study of yoga and Ayurveda, I learned that it is bad form actually to blow out a candle, right? If we can think of that candle as that flame of awareness, and you felt that kind of connection with it as you cultivated or practiced that connection of being with the flame instead of observing the flame from the senses, right? That internal kind of connection with it. If we go around blowing out candles, blowing out that flame, right? We want to cultivate that flame. We want to nurture it and be gentle with it and honor it. And so we don't blow it out. We gently, 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 gently snuff it. A little bit of background there. That's why we don't blow out the flame. It's funny that in North America, we have this tradition of blowing out candles. Or in the Western world, this tradition of blowing out our birthday candles. My goodness, in India, that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It's like, yeah, it's like blowing out your own sun. Okay. So a couple little practices for you as we continue on and move further, even deeper into the season. And as we start to approach or get even closer to December 21st and that point in the solstice, you can know that every day after that, we get a minute more daylight. The sun is indeed back, baby. The sun is back, baby. And the sun was always there, and it is within you, and you can connect with it anytime, anywhere. And I hope that these couple practices tonight that I've shared are things that you can take into your practice, or even just remember, right? There's a power of that memory um, as you go through the holiday season, or you can watch the recording, which will be in the Busy Women Breaking the Stress Cycle Facebook group. And before we close out our conversation tonight, just a couple reminders. One is that we are back together on January 2nd. That will be the fourth and final workshop in this series. And I'm looking forward to January 2nd. Yeah, Thursday, January 2nd, same time, same place. And I'm excited to talk to you about resolution. What a perfect time to talk about resolutions. And secondly, I would like to also make note that our next cohort of the Stressless Solution program will be kicking off in January. However, you don't have to wait to get a kickstart on your resolution of finally managing your stress and breaking the stress cycle in your life. And if you're interested in knowing how you can get some quick wins and some quick access to um, some great tips and tricks and program access now, I'd be delighted to talk to you about that. I will pop um, in the show notes or in the post with the recording, the link to book my calendar. So I'm going to take a couple days off for the holidays, but not a ton. And so in my calendar, you'll find very up to date availability for me. So feel free to book me. We can talk about the Stress Less Solution program and maybe talk about how you can kickstart that even before the resolutions start flowing in and really set the stage for a stress less 2025, starting as soon as, oh my gosh, tomorrow if you want. Um, it's not too early to get started. And, in just 12 weeks from now, we're looking at about the end of February. And can you imagine 2025 without the of your burden of stress and the tower of stress stack, and coming out of the holidays feeling refreshed and revitalized and ready to have an amazing year? So if that's interesting to you, feel free to book my calendar. Like I said, the link will be in the Facebook group along with the recording and all of the recordings for the workshop series. And I am so thankful that you joined me tonight. Again, it's been a wonderful event. I've really enjoyed it. I've had a lot of fun, and I hope you have too. And until we meet again on January 2nd, I wish you the most joyous, peace-filled, and fun rest of your holiday season. However you celebrate, wherever you celebrate, and with whomever you celebrate, my heart and my light is with you. Namaste.